punting penalty keeping this drive alive. 2nd and 7 for the Bengals, down a touchdown. Burrow, nice catch by Boyd. Ball a little bit behind him. Tyler Boyd was all alone. And there's the sneak. Fields dives forward. Does he have enough? It looks like he does. Did he get enough on the sneak? He did not.
Nothing wrong with the little slant here.
Pressure comes. Quick toss. Chase for the catch.
Man-to-man across the board.
4th and 2. Burrow to the sideline. Incomplete. 4-man rush. Pressure up the middle. Dalton is down. DJ Reader with his first sack. 3-man rush. Burrow to the sideline. Open is T. Higgins and a first down. That's Higgins in motion on 2nd down. Mixon to carry in the counter. Trying to bounce to the outside. Good cut by Mixon. And a first down on the day. 3rd and 18. Pressure coming again. Quick toss. Looking for running room is Chris. Person's kick is down to 8. Bengals bring 5-man pressure. Fields in trouble. Ball is out. Loose on the turn. And Fields is able to recover. 5-man pressure from the Bears. Burrow from the pocket has time to find Higgins, who drops the football. It's scooped up by Chicago. Deshaun Gibson's got it. And Gibson down at the Bengal 40-yard line. He's at the bottom of the screen. He finds Boyd, and Boyd on the loose. And Boyd with a first. More difficult now. Burrow throws, intercepted. It is picked off, and on the run is Roquan Smith. Down the sideline. Smith gets a block all the way. The pick 6 for Roquan Smith.
Ready to throw the next interception. He's ready to rock.
Play action. Good blitz pick by Mixon, and it's intercepted. To back picks as Burrow will throw on first down. Pressure up the middle. He's hit, and it's a 3rd straight pick. Okay, they're in good shape right now. 3rd and 7. Burrow, good toss and
Right there. Boom. Get a piece in the air.
Burrow looking deep for Chase, and Chase makes the adjustment, and Chase will walk in for his 2nd touchdown of the season. 3rd and 8, pressure again. Field throws, and it's intercepted. Logan Wilson with the pick. Burrow throws for the end zone. It's a touchdown to T. Higgins. In the pocket, helmets fly. Fields breaks a tackle.
Hello, everyone. Welcome
Hi.
to Tigress Talk, first and only show created by women, first and only Bengal show. I'm Jess, aka Hube, aka Mrs. Obvious, and I am joined by these lovely ladies here. We got Jerry down in Tampa, who was briefly a Dolphins fan, but now has the most Bengals apparel of anyone I know. Kayla is just across the river in northern Kentucky and is a season ticket holder with her dad. And Whitney, former East Sider and Northern Kentuckian, now living in Florida, always representing where she's from. Thank you guys all so much for joining me today.
Hey.
So, it was a bit of a rough one on Sunday, I'm not going to lie. But
Yeah. Yes.
good thing is there's a lot of football left to play, so,
Yeah.
you know, we have time. We have time to fix our problems. But first things first, I just wanted to thank everybody so much for your questions and interactions on Twitter. We really appreciate all the comments and interactions in the show and before and after. We got a couple of good questions. Greg asked, should Jackson Carman start versus Pittsburgh? Provocative. So we'll definitely get into that one. And then our good friend Arrow, who is live in the comments now. Hey, Arrow, thanks so much for joining us. He said, and I quote, "What do you think will Big Ben's excuse will be when they, sorry, I cannot read, when they lose to the Bengals? Will it be his man boob? Or will he blame his OC again? What say you?" Well, as much as I would not like to think about Ben Roethlisberger's man boobs, we will definitely be getting to those questions. So thank you guys so much for sending them. All right, let's get into the game. So we lose a close one, 17-20. It felt like the score should have been a lot farther apart than that, but you know, we did make a really good comeback in the end. So first quarter, another slow start by the offense. Eli Apple, it gets exposed. Dalton drives down the field for an opening touchdown. My friends on there, my friends in the UK, they said that we made Andy Dalton look like Tom Brady. I don't know about that. I love Andy Dalton, but I don't know about that. But anyway, slow start for the defense. Slow start for the offense and the defense, really. But second quarter, defense steps up to blank the Bears, but the offense still can't find an explosive play. I think a lot of the problems that we had, at least to start, was the field position. I thought was pretty rough. They had the muffed return that he recovered, but I think field position was kind of a story.
Yeah,
the whole time.
was so solid.
I know special teams, I really think was one of our strengths
Right.
in week one. So I was really surprised they struggled so much with that. And I think, Chicago just is also really good on that side of the ball too. So I think there was a lot of different things. I think honestly, what it comes down to is a lot of people just had really bad days, honestly. So, but third quarter, we had some runs, we had some not so good runs. It's pretty much the story of the day. We ended up getting on the board with a field goal. So appreciate Evan Almighty, Kickpherson, whatever you want to call him. He got us on the board, so that was good. And then the fourth quarter was where it all got real juicy, didn't it?
It got weird.
It got so weird. And I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. Like I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. Like I was floating above my body, having a terrible nightmare. And I was like, this is not happening. This is not real life. But, everybody knows the T. Higgins fumble was very out of character for him. One thing that we've all said is that we really like about T. Higgins is that he's so physical and he will go up and make a grab and then get the yards after the catch. But unfortunately, he had the ball kind of hanging out, fumbled the ball. Bears got it. Luckily, I think our defense held him to a field goal on that drive. So big credit to the defense. That should have all those 4 turnovers should have resulted in a lot more points than they did. So I really appreciate our defense for really stepping up with that. And then the turnovers happened. And I think Joe Burrow, I think he said he's never turned the ball over that many times ever in a game in his life. And I don't think he ever will again.
Yeah.
But I couldn't believe when I got to the third one, I was like, I'm being punked. Like, this is not happening. Like, how is this even like statistically possible at that point? But ended up getting a really good drive going, probably the best drive of the whole game when they had that big reception for Jamar Chase and scored the touchdown. And so I really feel like that was when things started to come together. And I was like, okay, this is going to happen. And then the defense gets the ball, takes it down to the 7, beautiful T. Higgins touchdown. And I'm like, this is happening. We're going to come back. We're going to win this. All we needed was a big stop. But it was 81 degrees outside. The defense was playing hard all game. And then they just could not come up with a stop. So
they were close.
They were so close.
Yeah.
I really feel like from any point on that field, Evan McPherson could have kicked a field goal and to tie it and at least gone to overtime. But
They were so close, but I also felt like it was unfair that we asked an unfair amount of them. Like they saved the game. Like every time they got on the field, they were heroes and saved the day, and it kept us in the game. And so it's like it's so easy to pick that last little tiny bit apart. But I think any real fan that was really watching it critically thinks like, okay, yeah, but they also saved us 25 times prior,
right?
And so
right.
I don't know.
But there was also the stupid pass interference on Eli Apple. If he doesn't get that call, maybe Andy doesn't score a touchdown there. Maybe the game's a little closer after that. If they had scooped the ball up and ran it into the end zone or just fallen on it, taken the possession of it right there. There were so many things that you could point to in a game this close. You could point to like 3 different moments and think if any one of those things had gone differently, just one, not all of them, just one thing had gone differently, we could have won that game. So even though it was a tough loss, I really feel like I feel good about the way that our defense played. I don't love what I saw from Joe Burrow, but I really feel like he's going to get it ironed out. I feel like he just had a really bad day. I think he's going to learn from it. Take take all he can from it. He's a smart guy. He's the kind of guy that's going to learn from this experience and go forward and be better as a result. So I don't know.
agree. And didn't it almost feel?
Well, even with Joe's bad,
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, even with Joe's bad day, like they brought us back and almost won the game for us. So I don't think he was letting it bother him too much. He was just thinking, okay, on to the next play. But
so when I was listening to the I think it's the Bengals booth with Dan Horde, he said Joe Burrow threw 3 straight interceptions and then 2 straight touchdowns. And then it came out later that wasn't actually correct. It was like there was a few more throws in between there.
Right.
But how poised is that to be able to turn the ball over 3 times, which is ridiculous by all counts, and then come back and have a really solid performance? I feel like a lot of other people, it would have gotten in their heads. It would have gotten under their
100%.
skin. They would start playing scared, playing it safe. But, he had Jamar Chase. It was like 42-yard touchdown pass. So, he never lost his composure. He always was in it to win it, I feel like. And they really could have, they could and should have won it. But fortunately, that's just how it goes in the National Football League. It's hard to win games in the National Football League, a lot of people say.
It is.
So,
yeah,
but I feel like, Brandon Wilson kind of had a bad day too, because he's known for being explosive and electric, and we've seen him run it back for a touchdown before, and then he muffs the punt, the catch on the first punt. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Like, I was glad that he recovered it, but
do you think like the crowd noise might have had anything to play with that? Since
possibly, I feel like it's definitely easier to play at home for these guys. So,
and this is the first time in almost 2 years that they've had this kind of crowd noise against them. So
that's a really good point. Yeah, I kind of tend to forget that last year was basically a wash as far as home field advantage goes. So, yeah, I think it's going to be harder to win on the road this year with the crowds being back. But it's funny because my friend Lisa on Twitter, she said that she quoted the decibels for the Chicago Bears, and I think it was like 101 decibels when they were on defense, and at Paul Brown Stadium it was like 116 decibels when they were on defense. And I guarantee you there were more Vikings fans in Cincinnati than there were Bengals fans in Chicago. Although I did see a lot of awesome fans up there. I think we traveled very well and represented very well. But, the fact that they were not as loud as us, give me a little bit of pride. I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely that element. I think away games, there's a reality there for sure. Soldier Field is not a friendly environment. It's kind of known, that old school arena to charge into, but it also really did feel like we just never gelled. We never found our footing on offense, and I guess you could say special teams too a little bit, which is very uncharacteristic for them, but it just felt like they never really gelled. And you almost saw like a magnified amount of that when there was those 3 like rapid fire interceptions followed by the 2 rapid fire touchdowns. It almost looked like, and Joe said he was trying to force it when those turnovers happened, but it almost was like he was trying to force it with the game plan we had all day. And then there was almost like an F it moment where they threw everything out and was like, damn it, like we can't win anyway, so like let's just let it rip. And it works. And it's like, come on, like maybe a little bit more of that. I know we'll talk about this later, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but there is something to be said. And you know what it kind of reminds me of is when we had Finley out there and beat the Steelers last year. Like we kind of let it felt like on the outside of the end, kind of flung the playbook out the window of what we had been doing, because we're like, oh, let's tailor it to this new guy, Finley. And I don't think the Steelers knew what was coming next and didn't know what to do with us, didn't know how to game plan for that. And I kind of feel like it was a moment of that in the last 5 minutes of the game where we just they didn't know what was coming at them because we were doing something totally different than we had done all game. So I could be wrong, but that's what it looked like.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to it, and I don't purport to know what the playbook looks like. I feel like Joe is doing a lot of audibles at the line, so I don't know what he was seeing when he's staring down those guys. I mean, you can practice and run through things in a classroom, and then when Khalil Mack is in your face, I feel like it all goes out the window. Your life probably flashes before your eyes. I don't even know. So I feel like Chicago has a very good defense, and I feel like a lot of their guys were covered up downfield. And, I think that it's not that they didn't want to throw it deep. to begin with. They just were kind of trying to balance the approach with the run game because it worked so well last game. And I, for one, was always saying, like, we need to run the ball more. We need to run the ball more. After that, it's like, okay, maybe there's some adjustments that can be made. But I feel like they were really trying everything, and it just wasn't working. Nothing was working. But I think it was not for a lack of effort or a lack of intelligence. I think it was just the way that the cookie crumbled on Sunday. So,
and credit where credit is due. They stuck with the run game, and you have to do that, or else you can't open it up and do something unexpected down the field. I mean, they have to stick to the run game. It just, unfortunately, it just wasn't there on Sunday. But
yeah.
And to Jess's point, people were just off in ways they not normally are. So, I mean, people, I think collectively, well, individually, had bad games, and collectively that's kind of the result of that. But we were still in it to the last second. So there's something to be said for that too. But
absolutely, I think it speaks to our heart and our resilience that we can come back in a game like that when literally everything had gone wrong. I mean, our field position, when I was going through this game, when I was going through the stats, it was like fair catch at the 8, fair catch at the 9, returned it to the 19. Like literally, like we had terrible field position all game. And when your offensive line is still trying to get it together and work out the kinks and be cohesive, when you start from that far back, it just makes it that much harder. And I feel like we were running early trying to get some space because we had no space in the back of the end zone. So it was like the perfect storm of bad things, I think.
Yeah.
How refreshing is it, though, that even at the last second when everything's gone wrong, I don't know about you, but I haven't had this experience in I don't know how long as a Bengals fan. I still feel totally pumped and optimistic as long as we get the ball back because I think we can still do it.
You know what? You're so right.
For so many years, not feeling that way at all, like feeling like we need another quarter, please, because like we took a quarter off during the game or something. I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like super confident and excited when we get to kick a field goal, and I get really super excited when our quarterback gets the ball back. I think it's possible. Like
absolutely. And I feel like that's something that Cap said too. He was like, I feel like in the past we've all been waiting for things to go wrong, and now it's like we're waiting for things to go right because we know that they can and they will.
Yep.
So
we've never seen a Zach Taylor coach team give up either. Like for all of the games that we've watched where things have kind of gone a little haywire, our guys have been in it to win it to the very last minute of the game.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah. So we got a couple good comments here. Arrow says, I didn't watch the game and like 4 turnovers, I would feel like it was a blowout. Yeah, absolutely. It should have been. I mean, I think we came up with like 10% of the time when we turn the ball over more than 4 times, it's like a 10% chance of winning. So I feel like 4 turnovers, you immediately think, oh, it's a blowout. We lost by 30 points, blah, blah, blah. So the fact that we were still in it with that many turnovers, I think was really good. But and then Play Under Review says, I want to say I was crying right along with Jerry on Twitter. We were all crying with Jerry on Twitter.
Yeah, there was at one point I was watching the game from my pool, and at one point I just turned over and was just like floating. And my husband's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like,
"I faked your own death drowning." Yeah,
I did.
Trying to drown yourself in your own pool. That's bad. That's bad.
For a minute. I've had to be dramatic for like 2 seconds.
Right. I know. I felt the same way.
Watching football.
Yeah. Greg says, I know it's only 2 games, but the defense has earned my respect. Absolutely, Greg. Defense did everything that they needed to win the game. They had that game won. So.
Yep.
But and then Arrow says, taunting calls. We're going to get to that, Arrow. Yeah. Absolutely, Greg. 3 interceptions. Yeah. 100% agree with you there. All right. So let's see. Offensive line. What did we think about the offensive line? I feel like they're still having some problems with communication. I know Frank Pogg's going to get it together, but I feel like, all credit to Chicago defense. They played a really good game. It was a really tough game. I feel like they acted like, at one point I felt like all the guys on the line were looking around frantically, like they were so confused. And it's like, they'll pull a stunt where they'll switch places, and then it's like they don't know who they're going to block. And it's, one guy, they let, I forget who it was, but he let the one guy right by him, and that's one of the sacks that Joe took. I think it was Quentin Spain. They switched up, and he thought he had his guy, and then this other guy comes up, and it's just like, I think there was a lot of confusion on the line. So I don't know if you guys saw any of that, or what you think about the communication issues on the line, but
yeah, I think we still have a lot of growing pains to go through. Yeah. And I really do wonder if, like, for it being the first game on the road with, a packed stadium, if it just threw them off a little bit. So I'm hoping they'll kind of get over that this week. I'm sure they've really been addressing the issues that we had on Sunday, head on this week. So I'm hoping for a much better outcome.
Yeah, and I feel like that the first game, there was only 2 sacks that you could really attribute to the line.
Yeah. After
this past week, I feel like there was a couple more, but I feel like it's not always the linemen that are at fault when these things happen. I think we need to work on pass blocking, things like that. So I think there's more issues there than what.
I really missed Gio this week.
Yeah. That's what I was going to bring up, and Arrow mentioned it just now too. Like, I feel like I heard today Joe mention that the communication was actually fine, but I have heard a lot of criticism about we got to get better in blocking, like with Mixon and P. Ryan. I saw, I think, PFF stats on them as far as blocking is concerned, and maybe a little bit of confusion there too, or miscommunication, at least in that part. But I agree. I think it's obviously not all the O-line. There's room for improvement there, but
yeah, I think there's a little bit of blame to go around. And I listened to that interview also, and I was really encouraged by that he said that he thought the communication was good. So, maybe it looks to us one way, and to them it feels a different way. So, it's hard to say because we're not out there. Unfortunately, they won't let me play. They still. Every year, I let them know I'm available, and they don't want to hire me for anything. So all I can do is watch with everybody else. But let's see what Greg says. Yes, very good at blocking. He was.
Yeah.
I hate to dwell on stuff like that because it's like the past is the past. You can't get it back. So it's like I hate to even dwell on stuff like that, but it definitely makes me appreciate Gio. Gio was one of my favorites, so I definitely.
Yeah,
and maybe somebody steps up and takes that role.
Yeah. All right. Well, penalties were definitely a big story after 2 weeks. I read somewhere that there's been more penalties called in these first 2 weeks than there were the last, like 200 something penalties. And last year at this time we had like 100 something. So penalties are killing these games. I feel like they're affecting these games. So I feel like it's something that it's probably not going to go away, but penalties were a big problem.
Yeah, I feel like
I don't know if you guys realize, but
good.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so I know last week the first week we only had 3 penalties totaling 15 yards. This week we had 4 penalties, but they were much costlier penalties for 57 yards. The Von Bell taunting call, where he was basically just, in my opinion, talking to Andy, it was just absurd. And then even the taunting call that went in our favor, I still was like, I didn't necessarily feel like that was taunting, but I was happy to take it because it benefited us. I don't know if any of you guys saw like the compilation of all the taunting calls for last week, but they were just.
I saw that video floating around. I never watched the whole thing, but because I knew they were stupid, I knew it would piss me off just to watch them all again in one place. But
like, I don't know about you guys, but I watch football because for one, I love the sport, but I also want to be entertained. And they're pro athletes, and they want to entertain us as well. One of my favorite things in football ever was when Chad would, do his touchdown celebrations. And I just I like the, jawing back and forth. I like the showmanship. I personally enjoy it. Unless, it gets over the top and then you're like pushing somebody or getting physical, like that's when obviously you need to throw a flag. But just they're not even really letting these guys play the game anymore. And I know that the players don't like it, most of the fans don't like it. And I think it's just going to get worse as the season goes on, and it's going to play a major part in a lot of these games, a lot of close games.
Yeah, I feel like in a world where we can't all agree on much of anything, I think the majority of fans agree that the rule needs to go. I mean, these are big boys. These are adults. These are full-grown adults. If you can't talk to somebody, I don't know. I don't like it. But we got some people in the comments saying they do like it. So, obviously the league agrees with them. So he says, you can talk smack, just don't do it in somebody's face. Yeah. I thought it was interesting that Pro Football Talk said that they liked it because it would not lead to as many fights. And I think that they had to have been trolling us. Like, there's no way they really feel that way.
Yeah.
Although you could maybe make a case that this is all the Steelers' fault, because it's probably some dumb compilation of stuff that they've been taunting over the years that got people nearly murdered. That is probably their fault. They seem
very thin-skinned also. So they seem like the kind of that would be like,
100%.
You're not allowed to say mean things to me.
No.
It seems like a lot of things that they have done have caused rule changes specifically because of the Steelers.
I know, right?
This one on them. They get 100% ownership of this nightmare.
I wonder how many they had called on them. How many taunting penalties?
0.
Probably. But they can spit on people. And
Yes.
Classy.
So classy.
Pittsburgh. Hashtag.
That made me so angry. Like, I was like irrationally angry when I heard that they were spitting on people. I was like, in a pandemic, like you're spitting on people? Like, oh God. Just grosses me out on so many levels.
That team, man.
But Kayla, were you gonna say something? I feel like Kayla.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I feel like every time a new rule is implemented, it's like the refs are super hard on it for like the first half of the season, and then it calms down a little. So I'm hoping that will happen in this case, but I mean, who knows? But
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But regardless, taunting, not taunting, hands to the face, pass interference, I feel like there were just a lot of penalties on Sunday. And I feel like it didn't feel like we were losing our composure, but it definitely felt like there were more than there were the week before as far as penalties went. But I was really happy. I don't think we didn't get that many false starts, I don't think, if any. So even though Chicago was loud, I feel like our offense was really handled the noise well as far as false starts go, at least. But
well, and I feel like the officials kind of missed a few calls. There was one call
they totally did.
Should have definitely been a late hit on Joe. Like, if you can stand there, release the ball, watch the ball, and then get hit, like, what else do you need for it to be a late hit on the quarterback?
That was definitely a really bad no call that I was very upset about, because the man gets hit enough. Okay. Like, you can at least flag it when it's illegal, So.
Yeah. And I feel like there was holding that wasn't called like a lot.
Well, I always think that, but I also think that I know what holding is. Sometimes people don't agree with me all the time, but I'm always like, that's a hold. Here's a big one. Holding. And I watch it back and I'm like, maybe not, but felt like
the good one catch that was upheld, I really thought that should have been overturned. In my opinion, I didn't think it was a catch, but they also don't pay me to make those decisions.
Oh yeah, the one where he was falling out of bounds.
Yeah.
I was so confused by that, and I was at a bar with a lot of people and noise, and I felt like I did not understand what was going on there, because I was like, oh, that's clearly out of bounds. Like, but then they were like, oh, the ruling on the field is, I think they said it was confirmed, or I don't even know how. And I was like, oh, they must have called it as not a catch on the field.
Yep.
And I was like, wait. And then I felt like I was taking crazy pills and like I didn't understand what was going on, because that was definitely not a catch. I mean, he literally had like part of his ankle in and then part of his knee as he's falling out of the end zone. And I'm like, I don't understand how that's if you have to have 2 feet in, I don't really understand how that's.
Yeah.
I think that's when you were a Bengals fan, that's right when the hallucinogens like
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Like there was purple and tie-dye on the field. I don't know. It was, nothing made sense at that point on.
I agree. It's
Yeah.
like Alice in Wonderland.
Yes.
It's like somebody put acid in my drink, I think. I don't know. But
It's when you just keep drinking.
I know. Anyway, but the good news is that I feel like through 2 games and, all of preseason, we haven't sustained a whole lot of injuries. I feel like usually we have terrible luck with injuries. I got to knock on wood immediately. But I feel like that's definitely one of the things we can take as a positive, is that, our guys have stayed relatively healthy. So that always helps, especially when you see teams like the Ravens that lost like every single running back and, things like that. So that's one positive I'm taking from the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think that we can say now that our defense is legit. Like, we've gone through 2 tough games. I mean, last season, Minnesota's offense was just rolling, and it was last week too, like last Sunday against Arizona. So, I mean, like, our defense is showing up, and they look fantastic. So that's a positive we can take too. They looked great during the Chicago game.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
All right. Kayla, you want to tell us about what injuries we got going on?
Yeah. Well, I'll start with the good news. So we're hearing that maybe Trey Waynes might come back soon. I would love for him to be back week 3, but he was easing back to practice starting today. So fingers crossed. It would be so huge, but I mean, we can't control it. Hopefully he gets back when he's completely healed and ready to go so he doesn't hurt himself more. But we're all waiting with bated breath for him. So for the not so good news on our side of the ball, Suafilo is day-to-day, and so that's just less time with our offensive line clicking and less time for those guys to gel. But we'll see how Jackson Carman does. He'll probably get a shot, or maybe Suafilo will be able, since he's day-to-day, but probably it's going to be Carman time. And then T. Higgins is also injured, a shoulder injury, and he's also day-to-day. So that's not so great news. But all in all, we're still pretty healthy. The Steelers have a lot of injuries going on, especially groin injuries, which is weird. Yeah.
So
you can never trust anything they tell you, I feel like, at camp. But.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all know that Big Ben's going to play. He's just in mid-season form already, I guess, because he has a pec issue. But there's already reports saying that he's going to play. So, I mean, I don't think
it's going to hurt. That's what I heard.
Yeah. Oh, I feel so bad for him.
That's what I heard today. I was like, Greg.
I think that TJ Watt is also going to play. He has a groin injury. The other people that have groin injuries are Joe Hayden, Devin Bush, Alex Highsmith, and then they just put Tyson.
What are they doing there?
Lulu on IR with a broken ankle, and then at the end of the game, Deontay Johnson had a knee injury and he did not practice today. So lots of injuries on that side of the ball, but. I mean, probably half those guys will end up playing. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point about Jackson Carman and Xavier Suafilo, and this will bring us to answer both of our questions we got on Twitter earlier today. So I was listening, and a lot of people seem to think that if Xavier Suafilo is healthy, then he should be the one to go because he's got the veteran experience, blah, blah, blah. And I actually posed the question to Coach Minnick on Twitter, who I respect a lot. I respect his opinion a lot. And I said, if communication is part of our problem, would adding a new guy kind of hinder that further. And he basically said, like, at this point, it doesn't matter. Like, we just need to get somebody in there who's going to do a better job. And, I respect that. And I am a huge fan of Jackson Carman. I mean, I went to Fairfield. I love the hometown guys. I think he was a good pick. I think he was a pick that a lot of people didn't expect. And now a lot of people are looking back saying, like, well, he's not even playing yet, blah, blah, blah. But I really feel like when he comes in, he's going to do a really great job. So whether that's this week, next week, down the road, I feel like he's going to do a really good job for us. So I think it's too soon to say, who's going to get the start in Pittsburgh. But I think even if he doesn't get the start in Pittsburgh, I think his time is coming very soon.
Let me ask you this about Jackson Carman. How do you ladies feel about his first game being on the road in Pittsburgh? Like, is that I'm not there evaluating talent. I'm not Pollock, so whatever. But I think what would make me reconcile it easy if he doesn't get the start this week is that right there. Like, I don't know that that's the best.
And I feel like that's what James Rapine said too. He was kind of like, do you really want this guy's first rookie start to be in this hostile environment on a trash field? Is that really the best way to roll him out there? So that's kind of why I say I don't know. I think that he is the more physical player, and Dave Lapham said that as well. He is the more physical guy, but he doesn't have that veteran experience that Xavier Su'a-Filo brings. So it's such a toss-up at this point. So I think there's going to be a lot that goes into that decision. I don't think it's a decision they're going to make lightly, but I do think his time is coming soon. If not, I think it's a great point about not wanting to start in Pittsburgh, but
so I'm going to play.
I can see it.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. He's a hometown guy. If he grew up a Bengals fan, he absolutely despises the Steelers. And I would hope if he, grew up a fan that he would just channel all of that, because I know if I were to ever be able to go against the Steelers, that I would probably have some inhuman performance against them with all the rage and anger I have against that team. So I hope he could just channel that for all of us and just play the game of his life. That would be amazing, in my opinion. And that's what I'm personally hoping for. I
totally agree. I feel like it's like when a mother sees her child trapped under a car, and then all of a sudden she has the strength to lift this car. That would be me against the Steelers.
Absolutely.
But inhuman rage. Yes. I love it.
That's a new nickname.
Yeah. Era says, what's everybody drinking tonight? I'm drinking a Birmingham mead. And,
Good, Jerry.
I was going to say, I'm just drinking red wine.
Nice.
I'm drinking
with a white shirt, so I'm just waiting to ruin it.
Ooh, brave girl.
I'm drinking vodka and peach schnapps and cranberry juice.
Wow. That sounds very fancy.
Iced coffee.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. At this hour?
Decaf. Lame.
Bob says, how come no special Bengals drink or shot? There is a Bengals shot. There's a Bengals bomb that's orange soda and Jägermeister, and I do not partake in that tradition, but I watch and I cheer along with everybody and pretend like I'm doing it, but I do not partake in the Bengals bomb.
I maintain that that's what got me drunk at the Bucks-Bengals game. And I still blame it all on Houday, baby. On God. 100%.
Yeah. Absolutely agree. All right. So next week we face the Steelers. We know it's going to be a hard game. We know we hate them. Always have, always will. Whitney, what do you got for us?
So I just want to start by saying, not to be dramatic, but even though it's week 3 and it's a long season with 17 games, I think this is already a super important, pivotal, almost must-win game for our team. I mean, that said, if something was to happen that we don't come out on top at the end, it's not that we have to all feel devastated, but I do think there's a lot of really important, really good things that we can carry into the rest of the season with the W. at Heinz Field. So
I think it'd be a huge momentum swing. I feel like that win, we're right back on top again. We're feeling the same way we felt week 1 after that win. We are right back on top again if we could pull off that win. Absolutely.
Yep. I mean, right now we're in a position where AFC North is, again, only 2 games in, but we're all tied up. We're all square, 1-1. It's the first divisional matchup of the season. But it's a tough one. And I feel like, ironically, our 2 teams, the Steelers and the Bengals, are experiencing similar difficulties, or, we're just lined up in a really uniquely similar way, where our defenses are holding their own and they're keeping us in games, and that they've kind of got things figured out. But then our offense has not yet found their footing. I think both teams have that in common. We both have O-lines that are still trying to kind of get their identity.
I think theirs is worse than ours, honestly.
Well, it is.
I think so.
Yeah, it is. They've got 2 rooks and a sophomore, that they're relying heavily on right now. So, and they have no run game. They're dead last in the league for running yards. So that's something that we're going to have to exploit. But if you really look at it, if we can get this win, so this is kind of what it does for us. So we've got a monkey on our back as far as like a Heinz Field curse, where we haven't won a game at Heinz Field since 2015. So that's 6 freaking years.
Oh my gosh.
It's time.
I didn't realize that.
It is time. And then I know we all know this. Only one of Zach Taylor's wins has been on the road, and that was against a highly dysfunctional Houston Texans in week 15 of last year, and it was even a close game. So he's got to start, it's time for him to start kind of like changing the narrative and controlling his own destiny, that he's somebody that can win on the road, that we're a team that can win on the road, and that we don't care that we're at Heinz Field. Doesn't matter that it's the Steelers. And I think especially for our division, what I am struck by is the fact that even though it's early, the Browns are a really tough team this year. The Ravens are a really tough team. And arguably the most vulnerable team right now is the Steelers. So we got to win that game.
I totally agree. Yeah.
And especially coming into this week when they are banged up and they're doing something funny with their groins over there. Like, I don't know, playing Twister.
Gotta be it.
Catching them on a week where we should be able to do that. And it makes me nervous going forward with the rest of our divisional matchups if we can't capitalize on them being banged up right now. So it is a big deal. And I think also Zach has the opportunity to prove to the guys that he's listening to them, that he's flexible, and that, that he can roll out there with a game plan that they feel really confident in, and that he feels confident in them being able to make big plays down the field and kind of, turning them loose a little bit. So I think there's a lot of good that can come out of a win in this game for the team, for the players, for the coach, for the fans. You already know how Cincinnati fans get when we beat the Steelers. So obviously it's momentum all around, right? To your point, Jess, if we win. But last thing I'll say, like, as far as keys to the game, I think the overarching theme in my mind for this game is it's kind of the tale of 2 offenses. So both defenses are holding their own, like I said earlier, but both offenses, it's really which offense figures it out first. And if you really look at like their team on paper and our team on paper, don't you feel like we should be the ones that figure it out first and get it clicking first? Because I do. I think our weapons are better. I think our O-lines is better. Our quarterback is damn sure better. So I think it's really a matter. I think it'll be a major defensive game, but I think it's a matter of whose offense gets it figured out. I think Zach can't get out coached, because if we have a predictable game plan going in there, Tomlin he's going to sniff that out in 5 minutes. He's a smart coach. I hate him.
Yeah.
But I respect that he's smart and he'll figure stuff out really quickly. So I think that's another part of it. And to exploit that run game, if we make Roethlisberger win in the air, like win with his arm, we have a chance, because I think we can outgun him there. That's kind of Steelers week.
No, I totally agree, Whitney. And I feel like, the one thing I will say is that Zach Taylor had no problem taking care of him at home last year. So I feel like the potential is there. I think what's missing right now from our game plan is the execution on the part of the players. So I feel like if we can execute, then we'll win very easily. But we'll see. They always play us harder than they do everybody else, and I feel like we play them harder. So I feel like it's always anybody's game when we play the Steelers, whether at home or there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they know how to prepare for us, and I'll give them credit, they never take us for granted, a game against us for granted, even though the record swings in their favor, in the modern era, they don't overlook us, and they plan smart. But they have an O-line that we should capitalize in, that we should have at least some kind of field day with. And I hope Mike Hilton has the game of his life.
Oh, I know. I love that.
Yes.
When he said what he said today,
Absolutely.
he was like, oh, I can't wait to go back there. I love it. I love to see it.
Yeah.
Yep. No way Joe Burrow has 2 rough games in a row. Calling a dub. Yes, absolutely. I think he's smart enough to learn from his mistakes. Dalton says, "Who day, ladies? Who day, Dalton?
Who day?"
But yeah, no, I totally agree. We are the better team, I think, and we have every chance to win. But
Yeah.
So I have a question for you ladies. Which one was worse for you? When Carson went down in the playoff game, or the 2015-16 playoff game? Because I really don't know which one was worse for me, but I know the 2015-2016 playoff game, I was so upset that I ended up tackling my Christmas tree to the ground. And I don't think I've ever been the same since that game. Like, I wanted to throw up when Carson went down, but that last playoff game really took a part of me. I don't know about you ladies, but
Yeah, it broke me. I was like crying like all night. It was awful.
I think they both equally sucked because in both cases, I feel like we had really good teams that could have won the Super Bowl those years. And,
yes.
Maybe I'm crazy, but I really feel like those were 2 years in recent memory where we really could have gone all the way. That 2015 for 2016, that February, I requested I took vacation the week of the Super Bowl. That's how much I thought the Bengals were going to the Super Bowl that year. I mean, literally. So I feel like both they were both terrible. I got to say 15 though, because I was actually there at that game and it was raining very hard the entire time. And I was like soaked. I was like a little wet rat in my little raincoat and crying and rain and cry. And it was, and we were so happy when we thought we had it won. We really thought we had it won. And it was just like, you went from here to here. And it was the worst, one of the worst days of my life, I think. Honestly.
Yeah.
It's great.
It was the worst day of Jerry's Christmas tree's life.
Right. Okay. Did you break your ornaments?
So we now have plastic ornaments on the tree.
Oh my God, Jerry.
Aww.
Just in case. It was like our secondary tree because I'm a psycho with Christmas, so I put on like a bunch of trees. But my husband tried to surprise me. He like put up a nice tree and had like some nice ornaments, and yeah, the tree leans just a tiny bit now. We've mostly fixed it.
The tree never forgot.
I regret nothing though, because I felt a lot better after it. But yeah. That game, after starting the season 9-0, and it was just such a special season, and then it just ended that way. It haunts my dreams. I don't have a video, but I have pictures of like the aftermath of the tree and the ornament.
Oh, I want those.
I was gonna say that was before the days of camera phones, or
before we recorded everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about Carson Palmer, right? Or are you talking about 16 or 15?
15-16 was when I tackled my tree. Palmer was I wanted to just vomit. Like, still thinking about it, I just wanted to vomit.
That's funny. Craig said he was so mad he couldn't even cry, and then your birthday was the next day. Oh my gosh, Craig.
No!
Oh, that's so sad. But all right. Well, last but not least, fashion spotlight. What were you guys wearing on Sunday?
So I was wearing my where I'm from crop top and leggings. Very fancy as hashtag mom life. But but it was still I didn't have like any accessories or anything, but I was still repping my team. So
There you go.
Yeah.
What were you guys wearing?
I wore
So I was
two
in my
different
pool.
things. I wore first Go Bengals GEAUX, that shirt that I just got from a family member and I love. And then in the second half, when I realized that was not my lucky shirt, because I'd worn it week 1, so I thought maybe it's a lucky shirt. But then halftime, I was like, this shirt sucks. It is not lucky. And so I put on one of Yaz's shirts, the white one, the Into the Jungle white one. Also did not prove to be lucky, but it was more comfortable. So that was nice. So I don't know. I'm going to start fresh this week. Who knows?
I agree. I saw somebody else say that they changed clothes at halftime too. I feel like that was a popular thing to do. I was wearing my the Where I'm From Yas collection crop top. So, all right. Well, I assume none of us are going to Heinz Field, correct?
I don't think I'm legally allowed in the city of Pittsburgh. So
Probably safe
there's
for everybody. Jerry.
there's absolutely no way my husband would let me go there at all.
Yeah, I have absolutely no desire to go there. So I think it's like maybe a bucket list thing. Like maybe when I'm like 100 and no one will mess with me because I'm a little gray-haired old lady dropping F-bombs at people. Maybe that's when I'll go there, but I don't see myself going there anytime soon. So Jacksonville is going to be the Thursday night game. I was very stressed out about what I was going to wear to that game. And I don't know if you guys saw, like Cap and Jeff, AKA Strawberry Ice, were talking about everybody in the stands. How cool would it be if everybody's wearing like 13 or 14 to honor the Kens who are being inducted into the Bengals Ring of Honor, and what a great way to show our support of them, and how disgusted we all are that they're not in the Hall of Fame, and what a complete joke and ripoff it is they're not in the Hall of Fame. So I was trying to kind of go with that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print out a big 1-4 and just iron it on a shirt, just 1-4. And Cap's got his 13. So we'll be 13 and 14. And the team's wearing orange jerseys. So I'm going to do an orange shirt. But what are you guys planning on wearing on Thursday? Are you, Whitney, you're probably not coming, right? No.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed because I just want to see you. But okay. So what, Jerry, Kayla, do you guys have any clue what you're going to wear yet?
well, I'm deciding between my Burrow jersey and my Cincy Shirts Ring of Honor shirt, because it was lucky when I wore it on week 1 for the opener.
Right. I forgot that you have that. I completely
have
forgot Cincy Shirts did that. So yeah,
they're really great.
Too.
So, yeah. So maybe I'll do that since you guys are doing that too. That'd be cool.
Yeah. What are you gonna wear, Jerry?
So I blacked out shopping on eBay the other day. And I honestly don't even remember how many things I have coming to the house, hopefully before my flight. I have a problem, guys. But I absolutely know. No, I got an orange satin bomber Bengals jacket, like I think in March, that I haven't been able to wear. That was from the 80s that I'm definitely wearing that. Isn't it like Zumba night or Zuba's night too for like the pants?
Zumba.
Zumba night. We're gonna all do Zumba.
Zumbas or whatever. Listen, guys.
Yeah, the Zubaz pants. I do remember something about that. We agreed that was going to be the night everybody's going to wear their Zubaz pants. So that was Zen's idea on Twitter. So.
I have those, so I'll definitely bring those with me too. But I have no idea like what shirt I'm going to wear yet. Hopefully something that I bought will get here. I've been trying to find like jerseys of the other guys, and I haven't found anything that wasn't super, super expensive. So I'm still stressing out, and will still probably bring half of my closet because I'm just a psychopath.
Yeah. Orange out Thursday night. That sounds like a great idea. I love that. Orange. Arrow's got shirts on TeePublic if anyone needs a shirt.
Oh.
So I had an idea that I just thought of, like literally like 2 hours ago. I thought, well, I'm gonna make a big 1-4, and if anybody wants to make a shirt, if you would like me to make you a vinyl iron-on, just let me know. The first 5 people that let me know, I will send you a vinyl iron-on, 13 or 14, whatever you want. I will mail it to you for free. The first 5 people. I know I'm live on Twitter right now, but I'm not gonna tweet about this. So this is only for people who are watching right now. So anybody who wants to make a shirt, you can iron on any shirt you want, any shirt that can stand, the heat of an iron. Basically, you can iron it on. Doesn't have to be cotton. Doesn't have to be anything special. So
that's
anybody
awesome.
wants to
You're
iron
doing that, Jess. That's awesome.
Yes.
So first 5, I'll send them out for free. If I get more than 5, which I really don't see happening, but if like everybody in the world wants to do it, then I'll charge a couple bucks shipping. I can't be, mailing all this stuff for free, but I'm happy to do the work and cut them out and send them out. If anybody would like one, just send me a DM on Twitter or Instagram, and we'll get you one if you want one. So,
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching, everybody, and ladies, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys spending the time with me on a Wednesday night. So, I think that's all I got. Big hooday from me.
Hooday.
All right.
Happy early birthday, Jerry.
Yeah, happy early birthday, Jerry.
Fuck the Steelers!
Yeah.
Funny story. We actually got almost kicked out of the pub, the Admiralty pub in London, because he stood up on a stool, he stood up in a booth and was screaming "fuck the Steelers" at the top of his voice. And if you ever heard this man yell, he yelled very loud.
Yeah.
So, anyway, all right. We'll
it.
see you guys next time. And hooday, everybody.
Good day.